These are my two dogs, Winston and Buddy, and they occasionally join me in my days to work at Google.
So today I thought I'd give you a little taste of what it's like for a typical day in the office, as well as my top 5 tips if you're fortunate enough to be able to take a dog to the office with you. We recently made a video of us going to the Tottenham Court Road office, and today we're heading to Victoria, so it's a slightly longer commute, about an hour and a half, and we've got quite a busy day in the office, so let's get to it.
So my first tip is know your schedule for the day and plan it around your dog's toilet breaks. For us, that means before we even get on a train in the morning, we are going for a quick walk just so Buddy can have a number 1 and a number 2. I find that both our dogs have a toilet schedule, so actually for Buddy, having 2 number 2s a day is enough. So if we get this one done in the morning, we are good for the rest of the day. It also allows for a little bit of energy to be burnt off before our commute. If you have a really active or energetic dog, you might want to go for a longer walk in the morning. If you've got a lazier one, then actually just going to the toilets in the garden might be enough. Do what makes sense for the breed and for your dog, but don't neglect that first thing in the morning. It will make your day in the office just that little bit easier. Come bud, toilets! Look at that, like clockwork. Right, I'm gonna pick this up, bag it, bin it, etc. Right, back in the car, and a 20-minute drive to the train station. In. Good boy. Okay, so my next piece of advice is plan your route to work. I cannot overstate how important this is. Potentially more applicable to a large dog like Buddy, because we have to take the car, the train, and the underground to get to the office. I just need to make sure he can actually navigate the route we're taking. In this case, we actually take a slightly longer train journey into central London, which then allows us to get on the Circle Line, where the underground trains are much bigger and also have better aircon. For a large, very hairy dog like Buddy, who is more used to Swiss mountains, that just makes the whole thing more comfortable. With Winston, who's much smaller, we're able to cram into smaller underground trains. We also need to be mindful about how we get around the stations. You need to carry your dog on escalators in London, and Buddy is just too big at 50 kilograms, so we need to make sure we take stairs or lifts, and that the stations we use have those. When Buddy was a puppy, we actually did quite a few train commutes when it wasn't busy on Mondays and Fridays, as well as during the pandemic, which meant that he is now well acclimatized to traveling on the train. Before we get to the office, I let Buddy have a little sniff, so he might have one more wee, and before you know it, we're at 123 Buckingham Palace Road. There's a couple of floors here which are dedicated to Google, so we jump in the lift and head up to work. My next tip for you is to find somebody to help you look after your dog whilst you're in the office. Not for the full day, but just when you need to go to things like the toilet or into the food areas, which tend to be out of bounds for dogs. It's unlikely that your dog will be happy if you just kind of get up and leave them tied to a desk, so finding someone to look after them when you can't be there is a great help. In this case, Buddy's best buddy Megan fills the job nicely. The morning was pretty uneventful. I went to a meeting room to let Buddy off lead and do some work. And before you know it, it's time for a break, which is my next tip. Block out time for lunch. Like, literally put a block in your calendar to say that you're taking your dog out. It's the only time between the commute in and the commute home where Buddy actually gets to get outside the office. And for him, I find taking him out for 45 minutes during a lunch break actually helps him settle loads in the afternoon. Today we left the office in Victoria and went for a walk up to Knightsbridge and back, allowing him to stop and sniff a lot on the way, just to kind of energise his brain. When I take Winston into work, we do a lot shorter lunch break, otherwise I find he doesn't want to actually walk when it comes to our journey home. I grab some lunch when we're back in the office, and then sit back at my desk for some more work. Which leads me on to my final tip. Bring something for your dog to do. Toys, chews, whatever it needs to be. But asking them to sit on their own for a whole day is pretty hard going. In Buddy's case, we bring a bit of a selection. Some hard toys to chew on, like the antler and the Nylabone, as well as the fun toys to play with, and something to hide treats in to keep him occupied. I find that having a mixture of stuff keeps him entertained. And don't forget about toy rotations too. Bring something new in, or something he hasn't used for a while. At around 4:30 we leave the office. I've got a busy evening of calls, so I want to get home early to take those. We take a slightly different route home, as Buddy's quite tired now, and actually the commute isn't so busy, and head through Victoria Station to the underground. I know the underground carriages are slightly tighter and smaller here, but actually there's lifts down to the platform at Victoria, and at the other end at Finsbury Park, we can take the stairs. Buddy is getting quite close to this guy who didn't seem that impressed. Generally speaking, I find most commuters on the London Underground fond of dogs and happy to see him. At Finsbury Park, we take the stairs up to the platform and then wait for our train back to Stevenage. As mentioned at the start of the video, introducing Buddy to train stations and trains at a young age has really helped desensitise him to the noises and movement of them. The same is true for Winston, and they're just not bothered. The only thing he is bothered by is the consistent delays on the UK train network, and has his little tantrum on the station platform. Finally, on a train, we head home through Hertfordshire back to Stevenage. From there, it's just a short walk back to the car park where I pick up my car and drive home, whilst on a call because, well, I'm living my best corporate life. See? 20 minutes driving through the countryside and we are home, where Buddy spends the rest of the evening chilling out on the sofa after being the best corporate boy. I'll be taking Winston into the office soon, so if you want to see how that looks compared to Buddy, stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe, and hey, why not check out some of our other videos of bringing dogs to work. The last time I took Winston to work was in December, and he got involved in a Doogler, so that's a Dogs of Google, Christmas party. And that's all, folks. Thanks for watching.